Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Back in 2016, Dyson, the vacuum company, decided to invest in an EV, in developing a radical and different electrical vehicle that would not be aimed at the mass market. This was a big investment of over £2 billion. In 2018, Dyson revealed plans to build the car at a new plant in Singapore, with vehicles expected to roll off the line in 2021. The initial intention was to use solid-state batteries, and they even purchased a Michigan-based startup for this purpose. However, in 2019, they closed down the project, with this statement from Sir James Dyson. The Dyson automotive team has developed a fantastic car. They've been ingenious in their approach while remaining faithful to our philosophies. However, though we have tried very hard throughout the development process, we simply can no longer see a way to make it commercially viable. Dyson were mainly targeting the Model X, so we weren't even talking about a mass production low-cost EV here. Dyson is a company that is known for innovation. They have a great team of engineers, and they have products that use batteries. So it could be accepted that this is a brand that might also be suitable to transition to electric vehicles. But even with their experience, resources, and billions of dollars, they eventually realize they simply can't make a feasible EV. In my opinion, an electric car is more in Dyson's wheelhouse than internal combustion company, but they simply couldn't afford to keep at it. Their thoughts being that major manufacturers like Volkswagen can afford to invest tens of billions into the EV industry on the basis that economies of scale will ultimately make the technology cheaper and generate returns. But that's only if the likes of Volkswagen can achieve the technology. It also implies that Volkswagen are likely making a loss on every ID.3 they sell, despite it being as basic as it is, when compared to Tesla's technology. Bear in mind, the ID.3 is also a hatchback, not a fully family sedan like a Model 3, and Tesla's hatchback will undercut the ID.3 significantly at a $25,000 price point. I don't think Volkswagen can afford to lose that much per sale by selling the ID.3s at a similar price, particularly with such fewer features. Dyson did us a favour by spending $3 billion into EV research, only to discover that they don't have a chance of making an affordable EV. It just goes to show how difficult it is. And bear in mind, they didn't even get into the production side of things, and we know how hard Elon says scaling up production can be. You see, some companies continually make asymmetric investments. Amazon is a popular one. They try using their brands and engineers to create new products, like the Kindle cell phone, except the mistake they made with that is creating their own operating system too. If they hadn't tried to do that, then possibly Amazon would have caught some of the cell phone market share. But they only need to catch it right once, and it covers them forever. Amazon tried to compete with Netflix with Amazon Prime, but their real big one was the cloud server storage, AWS, and now that's their most profitable part of the entire company. The pen company Bic also did something similar. Sure, they were a company that made pens, but they also attempted other industries to see if their brand was something people would use in such industries. But it was nothing to do with pens or even stationery. They went for razors and lighters. Well, those are the two other big ones they managed to achieve success. There are many failures as well, like they also went into cell phones too, for example. The problem is, if you're an auto company, there is just no choice not to transition. The writing is obviously all over the wall now. They know they have limited time. Some of them look to be genuinely trying. The others are just making loud noises and political moves, demonstrating that they're not at all worried about EVs and it won't be a problem for them to transition. They say this solely to maintain their stock price, when in actual fact, they well and truly know they're in trouble. And this is just the EV side of things. Toyota have openly admitted now that Tesla's software is just vastly superior to anything they can come up with, and it will just be too hard to catch up to Tesla, let alone keep up or overtake them. Despite what they were saying earlier about how Tesla is just a chef in the kitchen with a few recipes, and Toyota is a real kitchen with a real chef, Toyota make more cars than anyone else on the planet. They're based in one of the most innovative countries in the world. For them to say this, and openly admit it, is a big deal. It couldn't come from a more credible source. For anyone to try and compete on the software and the battery side of it too, well, as we're witnessing, it's near impossible. But there's so much profit in there, everyone wants a chance at it, trying any sort of angle they can. Intel purchasing Mobileye for FSD, Bill Gates investing in QuantumScape for solid-state batteries, Apple trying to get anyone to make their car for them. Everyone just wants their part of the pie that Tesla has baked, and looks pretty likely no one else is going to be able to take too big a slice off them so far. Companies like Volkswagen have a brand or brands capable of private transport using a mechanical analog vehicle. They assume they can transition to an electrical digital vehicle just as easy, and their customers will simply adopt their new versions of the branded vehicles. It's not that simple. I keep saying that it's as if they would have as much chance competing with Google in search. It's technology, and internal combustion is Volkswagen's game. On top of that, internal combustion is one of the main causes of climate change, literally what Tesla is trying to reverse. So why should the companies that caused it get to benefit from fixing the damage they caused? If there ever is a mass market competitor, it will not be an ICE company, it will be another tech company, maybe Apple or even Samsung, or possibly some other startup. And it will not happen until FSD is a commodity and battery prices and efficiency have dramatically improved. This will not be overnight. As far as I can see, Tesla has the entire decade to themselves. But Tesla are not acting complacent over their gigantic lead. In fact, the opposite. They're consistently further increasing their lead. They have this decade to really create the moat to secure their future as a company. They will use this time to refine their manufacturing to make it so fast, cheap and efficient in order to scale up as fast as possible for the pursuit of transitioning off fossil fuels to renewable energy. We talk about manufacturing as if it's just vehicles due to the competition being auto manufacturers, but obviously it's batteries too. We've already seen the advances in battery production Tesla have made with the 4680 production lines. It's astounding, taking principles from the likes of bottling manufacturing. On Volkswagen's Power Day, we saw their equivalent, and they've drawn their inspiration from the money presses, which I thought was ironic, as that's a government facility that has little incentive to make it efficient and improve manufacturing cost, speed or innovation. Volkswagen also showed us some of what their production line looks like, and it was so slow. The 4680 production line is absolutely incredible, how fast those batteries are being produced. And that's already. Imagine the further improvements they can reach at 100 gigawatt hours or 500 gigawatt hours, let alone multiple terawatt hours. All the evidence seems to point to the fact that making EVs is not an easy task. Despite how much the competition tell us how they can beat Tesla, they're all still so far behind and have absolutely no evidence of achieving that. It's just hyperbole to pump up their stock price with as much marketing as they can throw at it. Remember, despite how hard everything is to get right with an EV, especially designing one that has a decent range and some performance and at a reasonable price, then they're still left with the hardest task, scaling them up to the mass market. Even if they had millions of customers wanting their cars, it's going to be a whole other challenge making that many. And we're just talking about the physical EV itself. Forget the fact that Tesla is a totally digital car with outstanding technology, and the only company in the world that is aiming for level 5 autonomy. Some companies just create technologies in a way that no one else can compete, like having 10 billion miles of FSD data. Isn't something you can obtain at ease. We just still aren't seeing anyone come close, even now. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.